Hello and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your source for the finest 2A propaganda brought to you by TNVC.com. Today I want to kick it off by telling you about this absolute muppet who is trying to put 1,000% tax on so-called assault weapons. Just so we're on the same page here, that would mean a $700 rifle would cost,
let me do the math here,
$7,700. Representative Don Beyer announced he plans to sponsor legislation to impose this draconian tax. He defined salty boys using pretty much the same 90s vibe language about defunct companies these creeps have been using since at least 1994. Statler said, "We think 1,000% fee on assault weapons is just the kind of restrictive measure that creates enough fiscal impact to qualify for reconciliation." At least I think it probably sounded like that, implying he could sneak this garbage through the Senate with a simple majority. I mean, I guess that could happen. And some of our fellows in the gun nerd community are concerned that this is a credible threat, but I don't think it has much legs. It's the sort of thing that really only is intended to make their other demands sound more reasonable. It will get drafted and debated to sort of chum the waters, but it's not going to make it out of committee. And if it did, it's not going to pass. And if it did, not only would it face a serious court challenge under the Murdoch versus Pennsylvania ruling from the Supremes back in 1943 that found you can't tax a constitutionally protected right, it could even jeopardize the whole ass NFA. But there's another problem, as Errol Weber joked. Weber is running in the Republican primary for California Stand's 47th district and pointed out all gun stores need to do is just sell a fun-sized Snicker bar for like $950 and then sell the rifle for $1, paying only $10 in tax. Of course, Weber's suggestion wouldn't actually work. It's a joke, because the tax would be placed on manufacturers and importers, not on gun dealers. But what would work just fine is the same thing we've been doing for years anyway. When you buy a rifle kit and a lower separately, it doesn't get the current excise tax, which is applied to complete firearms. It's part of the reason you can build a rifle cheaper. So manufacturers could easily ship a rifle kit to your house and literally give you a free lower with each purchase, which you'd have to transfer at your FFL dealer as normal, but the cost would be zero. 1,000% tax on zero is,
let me do the math here, nothing and then nothing.
Yep, comes out to nothing. What do you think? Does this bill have any legs on it?
Hey, you! Do you want to see in the dark like a superhero? TNVC.com is your source for the finest night vision devices and accessories to make you the bump in the night.
Axon, the company famous for police body cams and taser, recently backpedaled on their plans to produce an armed drone for law enforcement use because most of their ethics board resigned over it.
Hey, I've seen this one.
You now have 5 seconds to comply. 4,
No, that wasn't it. Ooh, I know. It was this one.
Identity confirmed. Mateo Torres, you are under arrest. Please put these on.
Yep, that's about right. No, for real. Last week, Axon founder and CEO Rick Smith proposed swarms of tiny taser-armed drones could be used to stop Minecraft shooters in the act. On the surface, it might sound like a great idea, and anything is better than waiting for over an hour, but tiny drones can't kick in a door, so it's actually pretty useless for that application. Unless you have one of their drones in virtually every room on your campus, or remodel to cut holes so they can fly through, which would violate fire codes. So you kind of got to wonder what context Axon does expect to use these drones. They don't have a product yet, but they're obviously signaling to shareholders this is where they want to go. It's no wonder the ethics board resigned, though. I mean, even in the very narrow context Axon proposes, there are legitimate concerns, but the context of ethical issues for this subject is practically limitless. I mean, I know this sort of thing would never happen in Freedom Land, but maybe an authoritarian regime in some other part of the world could use drones like this to terrorize and subjugate their population. And you have to consider whatever your own company's ethical policies, just doing the research and bringing the product to market means another party can make modifications or reverse engineer the device to do something entirely different. I mean, Smith casually dismisses criticism about potential dangers of new technology in his graphic novel. I assure you, that is indeed a thing. But there are honest ethical questions about whether the human race should even pursue technologies that allow machines to make use of force decisions. And I mean, like, serious, like, do we want our species to exist kind of questions. I'm not suggesting government needs to ban anything either. What do you guys think? Is this the dystopian cyberpunk future you hoped for, or are you as disappointed as I am? They say everything is bigger in Texas, and that must include their disdain for federal gun laws because apparently Glock happy switches are proliferating like wabbits. Or at least the Fed boys are whining to a local news station they are. The DFW-CBS affiliate reports Arlington police busted one guy for the devil's lettuce when they pulled him over for speeding. Then they found the go-fast Glock when inventorying his property, incident to arrest. But at first, they had no idea what the strange black box on the back was. The man later pled guilty in federal court to possession of an unregistered firearm and got 3.5 years. But that happened back in 2020. Now, Texas has a 2A sanctuary law that should prevent local cops from assisting feds in prosecuting federal gun crimes like this. And if you read between the lines in the article, the rest of the busts the feds are talking about are for entrapment. I mean, stings, where people who don't have the money for a lawyer are definitely not lured into selling auto sears to federal agents. The range in sentencing is wild too. One guy got 10 years for 3 sears and another guy only got 4 years for 20 sears. The Fed boy also complains many of these auto sears are made locally by inexpensive 3D printers in less than 20 minutes. What he's implying is that 3D printing is finally getting reliable and accessible enough it represents a viable alternative to the stuff on sketchy Chinese websites, further illustrating the ultimate futility of these laws. And I'm disappointed, I even need to say this, but if some creepy dude on the internet tries to get you to break the law, don't do it.
You better not! You better not!
And now, your moment of Zen.
There we go, that's better.
He's so much smaller than Crockett, it looks so much bigger on him.
Hey friend, do you like pews and pew-related things? Do you want to help us keep delivering you pure, uncut American pew propaganda at the low, low price of free $99? We literally couldn't make this show if it weren't for the generous support of TNVC.com, purveyors of the finest non-GMO night vision devices handcrafted from fine Corinthian leather in the old world style. They also have mounts, lights, training, swag, and all sorts of other free-range gear to make you the bump in the night. And remember, if you aren't subscribed to our channel, you make puppies cry and Captain America's disappointed. I love you.